So another recording day, and this time we have a bit something special planned today because we looked in our calendar and it's been a while since we done an interview, right?
Oh yeah, it's been a year. Just looked it up.
Oh yeah. So the last time that was Olivia, and then we had our break, and then we started recording again, but didn't do an interview in the second part. And so today we got another interview planned, and we're set up and ready to go. And we're joined today by the lovely folks of Mykeyboard.eu, David and Yulia. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. So, let's to start everyone off. So maybe some people might not know who you are, even though I just said it. Maybe you want to do like a little introduction of yourself.
All right. So my name is David. People in the community might know me as Necromanix. We've started our web shop in 2016, and we've been growing steadily since then.
I joined David's maybe almost in a year after he started the shop. And yeah, now that's my dream job.
Well, you already mentioned it. You started the web shop. What was that that wasn't your first contact with the hobby, probably. So when did you start with mechanical keyboards?
Yeah, so that is interesting, I think. Probably like a lot of other people, I started with gaming mechanical keyboards products. The thing is, we also own like a gaming community / review website. For a long time already, and we were never really interested in doing hardware peripherals for reviews, but I think Logitech, they were the first to send us a keyboard, and they sent us the model that came out with the Romer G switches, and I tried it out, but of course, because I have no idea what I was going to talk about or write about, I decided to do some research, and I was literally writing in Google some of those typical dumb questions like what are the best mechanical switches, and I went from there. So and mainly I started comparing between the offerings, and that was like Razer, Logitech, that was Corsair, and I was a bit between that, and then I ended up buying a Razer keyboard, and I had a friend who bought a Corsair, and I was still with this question, what is now really better? Like what product is now better? And eventually I ended up on the mechanical keyboards Reddit, and I saw all these amazing, colorful, beautiful customs, and I was instantly hooked. I remember seeing a keyboard with purple keycaps. And it was a B Mini EX to be precisely, and I wanted that. I wanted to have that exact same thing, and that's pretty much how I got into it.
So like everybody else, Reddit ruined you.
Yep, exactly. And I pretty much dragged Yulia along with me all the way.
So what made you go from the point of where you wanted that B Mini to starting as a vendor?
Yeah, well, so when I started wanting to buy products, before actually I built my first custom, I was looking into the better products. Like you had, at that time I saw okay, you have Vortex. They looked to have some interesting keyboards. I had this, the Poker 2, it was back in that time. That looked very interesting, 60%. I wanted to try that out, but I couldn't buy it here in Europe. But there was one vendor, and I think it was a Chinese company who had a warehouse in France. And because I own a company, I wanted to do a business purchase, and that was impossible. So I was like, all these brands, why can't I get them here? And I just started looking that up, and I saw, well, we have some room for that in our company, so maybe we can just see how it goes, try it out. So just experiment with that, contacting vendors and see what we can do, and we all after a couple months, I think we decided to to launch with the launch of the Poker 3, the ISO version, and we pretty much rolled from there.
So you said it with ISO version, and when you started, it was hard to get not even custom boards, but different mechanical keyboards in Europe. Do you think that has changed nowadays?
I think it changed, definitely. There's more and more, like especially now we see. So you also have, of course, I think they started similar with us, Candy Keys in Germany. But there's some community vendors in the UK. But after like the last 2 years, you also saw bigger companies actually starting to get into products like Leopold. It's still, I think for vendors, it's still difficult to try and support the whole European market, because every country has its goddamn own layout. So that is really tricky. But you see, because the more people are getting into these different brands, the more vendors are actually able to cough up the costs to stock up these different layouts. And it's definitely getting better, but I think there's still a long way to go.
Do you think that the recent growth of interest and people coming into the hobby, especially in Europe, has started to come to a point where there is a future that can support more ISO whatever layouts? I'm asking because there's just like the usual discussion, like there's always was like ISO not in base kits for keycaps, or even Nordic kits even getting made for an IC or not. But I feel like in recent months it's gotten better and better that these extra kits even made MOQ or got made. So there seems to be, at least from what we can see as consumers, a bigger market for these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's growing, but the struggle is still there, especially in the custom keycap segment. What you have is that many people who are actually getting into building custom keyboards, they see that it's very hard to get a stock custom keycap set in their layout. So for example, you're from France and you say you want to get into this hobby, you see that it's pretty much, you see these beautiful GMK keycaps and you see you just can't get a Zerti. So what is happening, a lot of people who start, they switch to QWERTY. It was the very same thing for me. Of course, Germany, the UK and the Nordic countries, they have it a bit better because there are sets, but it's still harder. So when you get into this hobby and you can't easily access these products, people change their layouts, and as long as it has to go to a point where there's enough buyers for these things that more and more visible stock sets or just group buys are running with these keycaps to actually make people stick with their mother layout, so to speak.
Yeah, that makes sense. And now I feel like for German it's a bit easier because I mean we can get OG caps if the layout is basically works on whatever you want on your keyboard. It's still like a bit specific, but at least it's easy to get and fairly cheap. But yeah, for like Azerty, you can't even get custom keycap sets with Azerty.
Well, I also found there's still also OG keycap sets that you can find Azerty. Like I bought this Waytech MK06, like this big massive keyboard with this screen. I don't know if you know it. Yeah. I got it with Azerty, so it is possible, and it was actually even, it's pretty cheap. It goes right now for like 100 to 150, so which is pretty much the price for a keycap set, and those are GMK keycaps.
Oh, did you bring that to Cologne?
Yes, I did.
Oh yes, then I remember.
Yeah. So it is possible, but the thing is, it's like of course you are in this community for a while. You know what and how and what is possible and where you can get what. But the biggest hurdle is actually those people getting into this community. You have this huge Reddit community already, and just a lot of lurkers, people seeing things, and they see these amazing, beautiful keycap sets. Like for example, 8008 did really well. People see those things on social media, on Reddit. They don't really know into this, but they get discouraged in Europe when they're just new into this hobby, to just see that they can't get their Azerty or their German layout or their UK layout.
Yeah.
So that is something that is, it's still hard, I think.
Yes, you want to like search for keycap sets for the first time, and all you see is as the interesting thing is always what I experience from people coming into the hobbies. They are not used to the idea of you have to wait for stuff. So they look at, like, from my experience, when people come into the hobby, the first thing they look at is stuff that is stocked. And even if you can get keycap sets with like international kit support, like none of them are stocked. Like if you find a stock GMK set, it never has any extras, like extra sets, usually at least.
But in how many markets these days, like if you're, in how many markets do you actually have to wait? So it's very normal this day of age. If you're interested, you become interested in something, like, say, for example, you just became interested in video gaming and you want this beautiful mouse or you want this great screen. You just click a couple buttons and the next day you have it.
Yeah.
So if you see these beautiful things, you see it, you just want it, and you can't.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't work.
And
like
this
that.
hobby is like, oh, I like these keycap sets. Yeah, you can buy it right now and you get them in 8 months if you're lucky.
Or even longer most of the time. I mean, delays.
And on the other side, just the keyboard kits are available. You can get and build a keyboard very quickly.
Yeah, it's basically only caps that are really an issue. Because everything else spread, like, you have so many switches and so many of them are stocked on various, like you have a lot of them stocked, for example.
But sometimes it's not always that easy to get an ISO support keyboard kit. I mean, yes, there are a few, and most of the times, like the stocked kits are often enough universal plate layout or something like that. But it's I mean, that's the other part. Like keycap layout or keycaps is one thing, but often enough in the recent month there were a lot of keyboard that were just fixed ANSI. And you can't mod them in any ways that they are ISO support. So,
but are you talking about custom kits, group buys, or?
Yeah, basically.
I was more like thinking about the stuff that you can get on AliExpress, KBD fans and stuff.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah. That's what I meant with like stocked.
Because these are the products that people will actually. Those are the things that people, when they start building, when they're new in the community, these are the kind of products that people are actually looking to get, because the prices are right, it's easily available.
Absolutely right, yeah.
Yeah, like the classic first keycap set it's like a random Taihao set, at least it was for me, and
I think we both had the first boards and kits basically the same, like KB Defense, GH60, Satan, PCB.
My first one was KBD 75. So.
Okay. Mine was with 60%, but yeah. So and then the Taihao caps, because those were in stock and an ISO DE availability. So
yeah,
there you go.
And this beautiful Miami colorway.
No, mine was black on black, actually.
Yeah, mine too. But yeah, well, that's Taihao is one of these brands that has I know, at least from ISO DE support, caps, and they are easily available and they are cheap to get. So, and they have some of these sought after colorways like Miami, which is not something I personally like, but it's one of those key sets that people immediately recognize, especially if you're coming from like the Instagrams or social media.
Yeah. Although I think Miami was more a thing when we started.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah.
I feel like it doesn't really pop up anymore. Like even on like Reddit posts of people like getting their first keyboard or building their first keyboard, it's you barely see
but
Miami.
the idea behind Miami, the very vibrant, bright custom keycaps or post-sales keycaps, that idea is still there. You still see people who want to do like when they do a build, they want to be able. A lot of people want to draw the attention to their builds and by showing like a really flashy colorway.
Yeah, nowadays you can do that by putting caps and using RGB lighting on it.
Exactly. It's the very same thing.
Yeah, that is
just
true.
not an ISO.
Yeah. There's no ISO pudding caps?
Nope.
See, that's
Not
a
that I know
market.
of.
That's a market to go into.
Yeah, but I mean, there has been a lot of growth in the recent year for mechanical keyboards, but it's still, in comparison to other things, it's still a niche hobby. So it's a growing market, but it's still a niche market. So did you at any point regret being a vendor in such a niche market where you have not a lot of easy to get customers?
No, not at all. We started this thing as a side project, flowing from our own passion, and in that regards, it was always just fun to do, and we didn't need to do this. We didn't need to do this to financially for our company. It was basically just a side project that grew out of its own proportion. But we never regretted that, not even one bit. What I could say is that like at one point you started realizing like, damn, this is a lot of stuff to do, this shipping and support, and we might need to do this really, really dedicated and not too much anymore as a side project and run this on a, like an actual day business activity. But regrets, no, not at all. It's basically just practical problems and overcoming these.
But yeah, that's good. If you see it like this, if you're not dependent on it and you enjoy the experience and like selling all those kind of things, because you sell a lot of things on your website.
Oh yeah.
I feel like your scope of what you're selling is like steadily growing.
And it will still keep growing, obviously. But yeah, like I think like when we started, we had like this idea, like we're going to fix the ISO problem. We're gonna. So we had like this idea, and that's we were starting with the right vendor for this. Is that we wanted to do like we really didn't want to focus on like Belgium or France or whatever. We wanted to focus on Europe. That's also why we took that domain Mykeyboard.eu, and so the idea was that the problem is to just stock everything. You have these keyboards with different keycaps, so the same model with different keycaps, different switches, and then different layouts. That's impossible to stock. So the idea was there to just stock the boards and do the keycap assembly here. And so we did that with Vortex, and that turned out to be really a good idea. And we wanted to make that our main thing. However, other vendors were not so happy about that. Because not all companies were actually able to, in their workflow, I guess, to ship keyboards bare bone. So our initial focus to fix this ISO problem it's still far off, or that's at least how I feel. So yeah, our focus changed, especially much more community projects, and that's something we also want to keep doing, like running group buys, supporting people with talent and passion in this community, and bringing their products to life together with partners in all over the world, and maybe try to do some of our own stuff, like maybe design some own keyboards, get some kits, also completely original stuff, and keep it in stock. And then trying to turn around to focus into the Mykeyboard part of the name, like really being able to complete or build your own thing from scratch, and heavily focus on that.
Yeah, that sounds like an awesome concept. That it's just like you're just a place to go if you want a keyboard, and you just get everything there.
It's pretty much what KB Defense does. Of course, it's nothing new, but I think it's something that for Europe and the community, it's still something we can do better.
I mean, it would be nice to have something like a European KB Defense in a way, like that's something where you know it's in stock, and if you buy, you can buy all the components you need at one vendor, and you have it shipped next day or something, and you'll have it in 3-4 days without thinking about maybe customs or whatever. That would be awesome, and I think it would help get people into the hobby more easily. Again, harking back to what we said before, like people are not used to wait for stuff, so making it easier for them to just order it and get it would help a lot of people just to go over that hump in the beginning. Until they realize, well, you have to wait a lot in this hobby, just accept it.
If you want anything out of the ordinary, you have to wait a lot.
Or you have to pay for it. Like, I mean, aftermarket, you just wait until it's out and then you buy it. But that's get expensive fast. So not for everyone.
But still, a lot of people seem to do that. We're really, I'm not going to say annoyed, but every time, when a group buy is done, the amount of requests we get for people to buy extras, it's just overwhelming. It's crazy. It feels like at this point when you're like when we buy like say 100 keycaps for the group buy purpose, we could easily just buy twice as much just for stock and get it sold still very, very fast.
Are you starting to do that? Like maybe not like buy 100, but like
the thing is, we try to do that, but it's not easy because. For example, the group buy projects, the group buy keycaps, it's easy because you get the money from the customers, so you have that money, you invest that money, and then we have to wait. But all the extras, vendors have to cough that up in advance.
Yeah,
and not every group buy has lots of margins in terms of profit, especially not in Europe. It's better in America, but here we, the vendors in Europe try to keep the prices low, not to be shockingly different in terms of the US, because they don't have the VAT thing over there. They just have the price raw, and the sales tax is added after you buy. But here it's included, so that's like 21% difference in price. So we, instead of having that 20% profit, we have to give it to taxes. So what I'm saying is that if you want to buy like 200 keycaps extra, you have to invest like, what is it, around 10,000, 15,000 euro, and wait a couple months before you can actually get a return on that money. So that you can do that if you have that money, but you can't. There's so many group buys that's impossible to do for all of them.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not easy to judge which key sets will have this sought after status when the extras are going to be released, because sometimes you just I feel some key sets get a life of their own in the waiting time. Like people tend to, I didn't get this, it's fear of missing out, and then suddenly the extras are released and they are sold out in 2 minutes or something. I feel, but some sets don't have that. Like sometimes it's just
like Shoko or DMG. That was sold very little while group buy, but after group buy, it seems like everybody wanted it.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's easy to predict because you have the pre-order sale. So like, okay, if in group buy all over the globe and with the partners, you sell 1,000 keycaps, you know that you can easily get extras, except for custom colors. Those are still a risk. You might end up with GMK Necro in stock. That is a big risk.
Yeah, I think at this point you have to like consider also who you're working with. So it's
but it's not even people who are good to work with. They can still make mistakes, and I think the whole process of color sampling right now, it's not perfect. You have to place your order, and then you have to try and match the colors based on some RAL chips, and then they do send you some samples, but you get a couple keycaps without legends. Like we're talking about GMK now. It's not that easy, and especially then having all kinds of different lightning everywhere, and you take pictures and share that. People are quickly to say, yeah, I like it, because they bought into it. They're not that critically, because they're excited for it. But then when it eventually comes out, it's a risk.
Yeah. Actually,
it hasn't happened that much lately. The closest I would be able to recall would be like Bento. When Oblotsky shared pictures of that, it was like, no, that doesn't look that great. But it ended up still looking great. It was just not good pictures. But
yeah, I think the other way around would be like for price speculation would be nice. If you have a image of a key, like when they sell keycap set on a group buy and it doesn't look nice, but it will look nice. But that's hard to predict. I think Solarized Dark is similar to that. I liked it way more in person than on any image I've ever seen.
That is weird. I was like a huge fan of that. It's also one of the first group buys that we did, because I switched all my IDEs, my terminals, they're all in that colorway, and I was excited I really liked the modifiers and the renders, but they came out really bad. I didn't like him.
Yeah, I guess that depends. Like if you saw the group buy and that's exactly what you wanted, then obviously it was a disappointment. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I just found that in person it looked way better than in images, at least.
Well, it's even the same thing with GMK Necro. In person, you can have your opinion about it, but it's just not the renders. So if you're paying up front for a group buy and you like the renders, and it turns out something completely different, you're going to be disappointed. And
sometimes it's the other way around also. Like when the set is released and it doesn't look like the renders, there are people who say like, well, I like this way more than the renders.
Yeah, of course. Like there's still, once in a while, we get people buying GMK Necro because they saw a picture of somebody who's good at making pictures and composition of the whole the frame, and people like it.
Yeah. And color grading. I mean, colors and photos and all that stuff, we covered that already in another episode, but it's hard. So most of the stuff you see isn't like the real world representation. So that makes it always hard. But as you said, you're doing a lot of group buys, and I think it's fair to say that you are the main point of group buy proxies for Europe at the moment, because I don't think any other vendor can compare in the amount of group buys you're running, or where you're proxying for other vendors, predominantly the North American ones. Do you accept any group buy, or do you have like a decision process where you say, oh, we like this, we want to run this?
No, we want to give everybody the chance. And the thing is, it's not, we aren't really the people who decides. Like if somebody comes with a keycap set, they still need to find a US partner, they need to find an Asian proxy, and all that. So if everybody is on board, then why would we refuse that? What we're doing though is we give them honest advice. If something is really done poorly, but I'm not talking about the colorway then. I'm talking about like the work around it, like preparing some text, where the inspiration, the renders, stuff like that. If they didn't prepare that, I'm really going to tell them like, look, you need to look into this before you're actually even starting an interest check. Because people will want to see more, and you'll lose a lot of their initial hype if you don't do that right. So we try to support rather than being selective, because in the end, group buys that fail, not that those are many, they fail hard. So it's not really much of a risk, especially not for the Europe side of things. So I don't think we ever refused anything.
So you mean like it's really rare that it just barely doesn't make it?
Yeah, correct. There's been some incidents, mainly because the partners work together to still, even if it's doing pretty damn horrible, the vendors still try to pull it through because they rather invest more into it than give all the money back.
Yeah.
So there's this balance between buying those extras and trying to negotiate with GMK to see what we can do. And GMK Shock was a very good example of that. It did horrible. The organizer was not active during the group buy period. There was no hype at all. And it were very, I'm not going to say simple colors, but it was a subtle colorway. Mm-hmm. So it didn't jump out with extreme colors drawing people their attention. It was subtle. And that was a risk continuing with that. But, in the end, it pulled through. The other one that was actually that failed, it's your favorite set, Handarbeit.
No, you had to bring it up. Well, you had to bring it up.
I've been waiting for this moment.
I know. I just know.
No, but that's also, I think, looking back on it, it's a very interesting case. So that was also like, of course, that is an extreme colorway, and bringing that into people buying it. The people who bought it, I think the half of it in the first run were people doing it for the meme, who were actually even planning to cancel their order. So it didn't do good. Everybody decided, okay, let's let it go. They could have done more work around it to promote it better. And now with the second run, I saw that it was handled way better. And as you can see, it reached MOQ barely, so to speak, but with the extras, it was an easy to do project, basically.
Well, I can't honestly say I'm happy about that.
But no. you have to put that, like, especially for us as a vendor, we have to put our own opinions away from this. It's about people who want this, and if they want this, then why not?
Yeah, absolutely. It's for anybody who doesn't know, I'm memeing about it. If you like Handarbeit, good for you. It's just like something I don't see the allure to it, but oh well.
Can't wait to create a custom block filter on Reddit. So I've never
oh yeah,
don't have to look at the set ever.
That screams for an add-on for Firefox or Chrome, just like remove Handarbeit.
Yeah, Handarbeit removal add-on.
Yeah. But yeah, I can see it. It's just it's a bit of history, and I think maybe even the failed first group buy did help a bit with the second one, because there was this is a set that was talked about a lot, and there are a lot of people that have an higher, I don't know, like personal investment in it. Like they really want this because it's such a meme. And memeing is sometimes all the community is about, I feel.
Absolutely. But I'm surprised. There's a lot of people who genuinely like it because of the history.
Yeah, and I can see that. I mean, that's totally understandable. But still, it's a curious set. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's do you ever? Well, you said you have to keep your personal favorites, or like what you like out of it. You're just a vendor. You're just trying to make it work. Was there anything, or does that sometimes still play into it? Like if you have to push a set a bit more to make it happen, like when you really like it, that you want to have a personal maybe set of it, so just you want to try to make the group buy happen, like in the positive direction, or can you honestly say that was never the case?
Never personal, to be honest.
Okay.
Never felt in such a way personal. Like, sure, of course, I want to see everything work out for people, but like, I think again, I'm going back to GMK Necro. That was a hard case. I don't know if you remember the history behind it, but it was doing poorly, and to still kind of make this set come to life, the designer decided to sell it or hand it over to Originative. And at Originative, their business model is very different than the majority of the vendors. They prefer to just stock up and have bigger margins, which is totally fine. I think it's a very interesting business model, especially for just being able to buy keycap sets straight from stock, even at a higher price. But Europe was pretty much left out of that deal. The designer and Originative, they didn't care about that at the beginning. I had to really step up and say like, come on guys, I have orders here. There's people who genuinely want this, and I wanna do what is needed to make this happen. And I knew that we had Originative had his MOQ for us. It was a high price for us. It was from a business point of view, I would have to say like, this is totally stupid. I should not be doing this. And I still fought for it, pushed for it, and made it happen so I could make the customers happy, because that was like my main concern. Like, not, okay, sorry guys, they decided it's going to the US vendor. If you want it, you're going to have to buy it there and suck up even more money to get it. I didn't want that. I found that I would think that for our company, that would have been a failure. And I pushed it, and yeah. What I wanted to say is I care more about customer than my own personal investment into these things.
Yeah, that's great to hear, actually, from a vendor, I guess.
That's what you want to hear from a vendor.
Yeah. You previously quickly mentioned about stuff that you're doing, and a thing that came up fairly recently is HSA.
Yes.
Can you tell us something about it? How would you describe this project?
But where should I start? It's basically how we became involved with this was through, I think, is it Matthias? Matthias, how's his? I forgot his name. One of the owners or runners on Desktautority.
Mm-hmm.
From Italy. I forgot his name. Ugh. Anyway, he's friends with the owner of JDK, and he asked him like, can you set us up with somebody who can really help my company, because we have a hard time to get us promoted in the West, or get us have some sort of way to communicate and to help people, do some group buys and stuff. And he said, yeah, you should maybe talk to David from Mykeyboard. He's very much into the community, and he's a vendor as well. So he's on both sides of the coin. And so that started, and then they showed, look, we're working on a new profile. I want to hear your thoughts. And I thought like, look, this is really nice. What draw my attention from the point was just the fact that it was shiny. It was something for me. It was like, oh yeah, this is completely different. Like, I want to try this out.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point, we started working closely. They already were working on the mold, so it's not that we were designing anything or something. But we've been very vocal to them. I think we have like almost every day a lot of talk through chat, just to try and push things in the right direction. And yesterday we went to the French meetup, and we actually had the very first set produced, like a prototype set. We had it with us there.
And how is it?
I think for typing wise, it's great. Also, the shine is great. And the thing that is still hard and is tricky are the legends. So that's like one of the biggest point of concern or discussion. Are people who want the absolute best, and the legend. So like if you would look at the legend, you'll see some inconsistencies in thickness. And at least one of the advantages I would say with HSA is that the alignment of the legends is all centered. So they can't make mistakes against that. Because with their cherry profile, they actually have quite a lot of inconsistencies where the legends or the icons, they start too much to the side compared to other of their keycaps. And so besides the thickness or consistency, you also have to, they also have to try and work on that. So we are trying to improve that with them. But the way they're printing their keycaps makes it quite hard because they can't fix single keycaps. They're using bigger molds. They're basically using molds that print 10 keycaps, different keycaps at the same time, which means if one of the keycaps needs to be changed, the whole mold needs to pretty much be changed. So that's very expensive. Like for cherry profile, we're working with a designer who has a very good eye on what is all wrong, basically, with the legends. And, you know, we provided them a list like these are really big offenders. These are average offenders, and these would be nice to have as fixes. And the guy almost got depressed. He's pretty much saying to just completely redo all the molds. Yeah. That's because he's like saying this probably is the best way to go forward with that.
Well, for them, it's like they thought they had a finished production line, and you basically told them it's a prototype.
There's another from a business perspective, there's another side to this story that is a problem for them, and that's the price point. They're actually not expensive, but they've been working exclusively to Z Frontier, and they like this exclusivity, so they kind of exploit this in a way that they have a big markup on it. So even like the recent group buys, like JTK Arctic and others, they're going through Z Frontier, and they have their own cut on it, and that makes the keycap end up around 100 euros, $100, which is crazy because group buy potential price wise can be a lot better, and we're going to show that with HSA. We're going to aim somewhere between $50 and $70
for like a base kit
for a full set.
That's incredible pricing.
That's a really good price.
That is, exactly. And then if you have some, with HSA, you'll have some, probably by the time we're gonna have it in production, it's not gonna be perfect legend wise, but if you match it with the price point, I think there's definitely a market or a spot for that. Like you have this keycap sets, and of course people who just can't unsee this little inconsistencies, they're gonna be so annoyed by it. But me personally, I don't mind. I'm not constantly looking at my keycaps as long as it's not too much of a distracting thing. Like for example, like chemming would be much worse, like having back space with a space in between, or a shift with a lot of space in between. That's something that bothers me much more than just, for example, the legend thickness. And if it comes at a good price point, I think there's potential there.
Yeah, especially because we as we talked before, like the first keycap set that people buy, or like for me it was Taihao, and Taihao are just so thin in comparison, even though they're double shots. So giving people an option to get like actually nice keycaps, like in terms of quality, but for like the same price basically as you would pay for really thin ones or terrible ones from, I don't know, like AliExpress, is still like such a huge win for the community in general, I think.
Yeah, and price point is the thing. I mean, a lot of people will probably not see this problem if it's cheap enough. Like if you have to pay GMK prices for the quality, that's a different thing. But if you get it at half of that, I think most people are like, I don't see this.
The thing is also with their cherry profile keycaps, obviously they're going to be compared with GMK. There's no way around that. They're pretty much the GMK clone, the original. They're the original. So people are going to be harder on that. But with HSA, you get much more differences when you're buying that profile. You're getting a new profile, for example, and you're getting that shininess with it. And they in terms of typing, it feels great. So that's a plus. If you have a couple pluses, like the price, the typing experience, the uniqueness, and you have one minor, then I think it can work very well.
Yeah, especially for that price. So is there like a goal, like a long-term goal to like make the legends even better if it sells well?
Yes, the only way to actually get high into the terms of high quality would be to change their molding technology to single keys. That's gonna still be very expensive, and that would also raise the price, obviously. So I don't know. It's hard to actually push towards something either way, because it's a small company. It's not like GMK or Signature Plastic where they have multiple people working on this at the same time constantly. They have other things that they're doing as well for them. So pretty much all their money that they're earning right now has always been going back into keycaps, like always. They're passionate about this, and they're pretty much making no money because of they're trying to improve one way or another. And the way they have been improving so far is by trying different things like the triple shots and now HSA.
Yeah.
But without having also the fact that the prices were high doesn't make it a really an attractive product for running group buys at. And that also results into not getting a steady cash flow to allow them to actually really go after quality.
Yeah, it's just like a chicken and egg problem.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You would need to sell a lot of sets to be able to change the other things, but you need to change the other things to be able to sell a lot of sets. So
exactly.
But switching to another profile that's unique is maybe a way to just like get a bit of more cash flow in. And and honestly, we don't need all vendor or like all manufacturers on the same level of GMK. I mean, we need a bit of more range in the community, and so that's a good thing.
But there's also a very good reason why all the group buys, the KeyCap group buys are GMK, and that is not such a long wait times as Signature Plastic, not such a long waiting times as JDK, and having a very consistent quality. So, quality still matters in terms of group buys.
Sure,
but I'm pretty sure that HSA, like we're not saying that HSA Frontier is out of the picture. Far from it. We're going to work with them for the eastern side of things. But we're going to, the things are going to be done differently to allow for proper price points, and I really have high hopes for that. I saw the initial reaction to the profile and the reveal and people talking about it is much better than I expected. I honestly thought a lot of people were going to get really a lot of people weren't going to like the shininess. That was my first initial fear.
There are, I can see why, because with GMK usually you don't want it, but because it's SA and people like the SA shine, and there are also people who like the GMK shine. I mean, there was, I remember one post where someone took a buffer to his caps, so they all were equally shiny. So there are people who like that, and I think it works with the SA profile better than with GMK. I don't know, it's feelings thing.
Yeah, also the thing with GMK shininess is that it's always inconsistent, because like nobody types like nobody touches or types on the same key, like on all keys the same way. So you
except GMK, for that that space bar.
Yeah, GMK shininess is always inconsistent. So
except if you use a buffer wheel. So
yeah.
But you shouldn't have to resort to that. Yeah. But another point was HSA, before we maybe move to another topic. Going back to your statement, you said like you want to push the European keycap market. You also made JTK invest into Nordic keycaps. So with HSA, there will be a Nordic kit at some point available.
Correct.
Was it hard for you to get them to do this, or were they like, well, if you're saying it's going to sell, we're going to do it, because JTK hasn't done with the cherry profile keycaps anything like this?
Honestly, it was not that hard. They pretty much almost came to me like, yeah, what can we do? What keys can we add? And I say, well, simple, ISO. But they know from a certain standpoint. They can't just make ISO keycap sets, because they're the way they're doing or keeping their price low is by higher MOQs. So they can't just make, Azerty sets, for example. So, but the individual keys are in a way cheaper, so that they could actually just add lots of stuff to their base kits. You might have seen it, those JDK sets, the single base sets. There's so many keys in there. So it was pretty easy, but of course we're not there yet. So it's something I need to follow up, and for me it's personal, an important point that has to come there. I promised this. I said people about this, and now I have to make sure it's it's getting in a set at one point.
Yeah, I really hope it does well. I would love to see also their cherry sets to be a bit more diverse, because I think that's also a problem. Like just in general, the disadvantage they have to GMK is like GMK sets have lots of novelties and stuff. That's really hard if you're not unable to make single keycaps.
Correct. Absolutely.
Or just like custom like escape keys and stuff like this. Like GMK has a lot of that sorts going on, and that's the reason now I understand why all the JTK sets had the same novelty set, because they only made one.
I know that like there's some sets they're designing. There's a group by that there's an interest check that they started in the East also for a triple shot Russian themed set, where they also have a lot of novelties. So it's not that they can't do it. They're very hesitant towards it. They don't want like the idea, you come here with your design, I have to do a lot of extra caps, it's gonna be costly. So, but they can, and they're willing, just a bit hesitant towards it.
Yeah, understandable if they're like very small. Although, to be on the record, I would love to have a company compete with GMK, because like if GMK had any competition, I think group buys and stuff would be a bit easier if they couldn't like completely dictate whatever they want. Because I think a lot of problems we have like with kit design is just based on what the few things GMK allows you to do. But yeah, maybe in the future. That's just you just have to sell like 1 million HSA sets, and then we'll be fine. No pressure. But yeah, it's amazing that that there will be like an international kit. That would be very nice. I hope we see each other on a meetup this year. I don't know if there are any meetups, but I would really love to see the prototype of HSA at some point.
There's a meetup in the UK. Yeah, we should be going there. Most stuff is arranged already, besides tickets and transport. But the day is reserved in our calendar. We have a babysit, and so that's the biggest hurdle for us.
So the important part's already covered. Yeah,
because we're both into this, so we're also both want to go, and so none of us can stay behind. That means we need somebody to stay, like especially if we're going to the UK or further than that. We need somebody to stay home with the kid. But yeah, the UK is coming up. I know in France they said about something in December, a smaller meetup. I'm sure there will be a German meetup before the end of the year still. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be hard. And I think I most likely, like this week, I'll probably even send the set or a keyboard with the set to Jay, to Top Clag, so that he can have a run at it and share some feedback.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to try this set. I don't know, like this is so shiny. I wanna feel it with my fingers how it is.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing though, like at the meetup yesterday, like people touching it, the fingerprints, man.
Oh yeah.
I could probably get into everybody's phone if I really wanted it.
Yeah, but like at the same time, people are used to from their phones that stuff gets shiny when you touch it constantly. Mm-hmm. Dirty when you touch it. It's not shiny anymore. That's what I wanted to say.
So, as you just said, you were on a meetup yesterday, in the Paris one. In general, like we see you on a lot of meetups. I mean, it's Europe, so every country has basically their own meetups, small and big in size. How is it as a vendor to go to meetups? Or are you always there as a vendor, or is it sometimes just like you going as a hobbyist?
No, not at all. I don't think we ever go to a meetup as a vendor. I honestly even believe that selling at a meetup is not interesting. You have people there going to either try something for the first time, but the majority, I think, of people going there is just to see different projects, talk to each other. And in that regards, I don't think it's that interesting. As a vendor, to go there, besides maybe showing completely new things, like for example, a new profile or something. But for us, I just like going as a member of the community. We know so many people know us, and it's so nice to be able to talk to people, and also just see the people behind the nicknames, like on Discord. Yeah, I think that is great. That's my favorite part of the meetups. We always bring something like extras or something. We don't even tell people if they don't come to us and ask, "Hey, did you bring something?" Yeah, we have this and this and this. And besides that, no. Who knows? The UK meetup actually has some sort of vendor focus, because there are quite a lot of community vendors there. And you have to buy like vendor tickets. So maybe we'll do something with that. I have to think about it. But that would be probably the first time we actually go as a vendor. Of course, we go as a vendor, as our brand, but going there to maybe even try selling stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
One of my favorite parts in the meetups is also the giveaways. I like to, when we bring something, see people happy, winning stuff.
I like to win in your giveaways.
Yeah, I never win anything.
Wow, that's not true.
Oh, I won once Rama cable. Still happy.
Yeah, I won linears from you in Cologne.
Nice.
Yeah.
I won yesterday. I was the very first draw. I won an artisan. It's like, hell yeah. The very first draw. Boom. And they said, the funny thing is they were mainly speaking French. So they said the number, which is a long number in French. And I'm like, I understood that.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Double win.
Well, yeah, I can attest to that. Winning is the best part. I think I've won in Cologne. I definitely won something from you guys, and I can also attest that you do personal delivery of things that are bought beforehand. So that's always also nice
at meetups.
To just at meetups. Yeah, that's what it says.
Oh yeah, if somebody asks, we bring it. Even refund the shipping.
Yeah, so you don't relying on shipping companies is always a good thing. Apropos shipping, we mentioned at the beginning, like, people are not used to waiting, and a lot of people these days have Amazon Prime and maybe get next day delivery or even same day delivery at some point. Do you ever have incidents where people are like, and I know there was, I think, one Reddit post in recent memory where they were like, well, this thing, I bought something from my keyboard and they didn't ship it like 1 day later. Are they scamming me or what? Does this happen often to you when new people get into it?
A lot of people ask, but I think it's a normal thing. When you buy something from an Amazon or many big companies, people feel 100% safe. If you're buying from a company you never bought before, you always have that feeling like these trustworthy, and I think that's a good thing, so to speak, to be hesitant towards, because there are definitely people online scamming people, so It's not that weird. But yeah, we get people asking about, like, is my order shipped out like multiple times a day?
Oh yeah. Oh my. Yeah. That has to be stressful for you guys.
It's just a lot of work. And you need to take that head on, realize that it's part of running a shop. That simple. Support is a very big thing. And support is also, I think, one of the big plus points for you guys, because you're active on Discord. Somebody can PM you or DM you, and you are very helpful, very friendly about it. So there's always, like you said, you're part of the community, not just like a vendor that's, how do I put it, not like a faceless person, just like a web shop, but also very much part of the community. Like, and I think that's great for somebody that's so reliable to have
such a support level of support. Sorry.
Yeah, for me, it comes naturally. If you're into a community, you'll communicate through the community. So it's not some business decision or something. It's just it's very natural, really. And also being able to do this as a full-time job allows for this in a way. There might be times when we're growing that hard where we have to make a decision, like maybe we need to hire somebody extra or stop doing some of the ways we're doing things. I hope not. Honestly, that's something I want to avoid at all costs. So, but no, at this point, it's very natural for us to just, be in the communities and talk and be available. And it's also very rewarding, hearing people give you compliments and on the way you're handling things is just makes you continuing the way you're doing things.
Yeah, there are days when multiple group buys come, like literally every day, and I'm here, don't know what to start first, and then I get on Discord like some very nice message of thank you, you helped me so much, and I got powers to keep working. That's really very rewarding.
That has to be great. Just like to get such grateful responses from people. Just like thank you, you helped me so much, and stuff like that. That's gotta help with keep you going through the maybe not so fun times.
Mm-hmm.
When Julia, I feel we wouldn't do this interview justice if we didn't talk about that licking incident. No. So that was the thing I was going to mention, definitely. So that's you can thank David for mentioning Hunter Bite with this, okay?
Every meetup we're visiting, there would be somebody asking me to lick the keyboard. Yeah, they would be always laughing. But yeah.
She's not actually doing that, by the way. It's not a service. I would like to discourage you on these things. We're not licking. Also, not for money.
Have there been requests for this thing? Like, I'm gonna give you money for licking this keyboard?
As jokes, of course.
Okay. I
think even yesterday, Salvin said like, "Hey, can you lick my CNC machine? That will help my Instagram." What did you post?
He posted it.
You licked the CNC machine?
No, I wasn't licking.
Jesus.
I figured out he's filming. But yeah, I think this joke was very smooth from the very beginning. I don't think I got any nasty jokes about it.
Sure you did. There were people in the beginning who were either upset, too sexual, or untasteful, or whatever. That was, by the way, none of our intention. That was we went to a friend who has a good camera and knows how to take pictures, and we just wanted to make some promo pictures with Yulia. She has such a beautiful smile.
No.
Anyway, it's just we thought it was fun for a giveaway to take some pictures. Also, like you say, being in front of the camera, showing our faces is who we are.
I didn't know what to do, and I started just having fun. And then we saw this picture, and they were like,
licking
"No,
keyboards.
Don't edit."
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Come on.
I said,
nobody
don't
will see that. There will be a couple people who see that.
It's just doing stupid.
And it
was also not the front picture. I think it was in the Immature albums, like a third picture. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's just got its own life. It was first. You did that, right? So. It's just your humor. Oh God.
Yeah.
But then in Cologne we arrived and you handed out stickers, and that was just hilarious. I had to laugh so hard.
Yeah, people wanted, they asked all around for them.
Mm-hmm.
But and you know how many years? It was like 2 or 3 years ago.
I don't remember.
And still here and there, I find even pictures on Instagram who are putting it as a main picture there.
Uh-huh.
I think at this point you can say it's not gonna die.
Yeah,
it's just
it's gonna stop. The oddest part of this thing is seeing people having it as their background on their desktop. That's so weird.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a very fun thing, and your guys are obviously now getting into it with the stickers, and I have coasters here with that graphic on them. So you're obviously like enjoying the joke at some level, at least.
Yeah, it's fun. It's just again the seeing people enjoying it makes you want to do it. I didn't with those stickers. I don't think anybody was going to be interested. But like yesterday at the meetup as well, we had like a bunch of them for people to take.
Gone in no
They were
time.
so fast gone, and people being disappointed that they were gone. Like, oh my god.
Aww.
Yeah, there was even somebody from Russia. He's traveling. We're visiting, and said he was a bit later. There was no more stickers, and he's please, all the people in Russia, we want these stickers so much.
That's the best part of the community, when just jokes get their own life. It's like,
You can actually, if you would look, if you would Google images, keyboard leaking, the first hit will be.
Yeah, if ever somebody decide to Google keyboard leaking.
No, that's a term I'm definitely Googling later. But yeah. I mean,
I think I figured it out from a colleague who actually did that somewhere, and like, hey, his girlfriend, she's famous. If you type in keyboard leaking, you'll find her at first hit. I'm like, what? But
I don't even want to know why your colleague was searching such a term. That's a bit sketchy.
I just Googled it, and the first hit is from the subreddit Photoshop battle.
Yeah. The battle was also very fun, and how people copied it.
Oh.
Yeah, I felt famous.
Well, I think it's great, and I'll never let that meme die. I mean, I have some stickers left, so
I will never let Hunter Bait meme die either.
well met, sir. Well met. But yeah. So you're gonna stalk Hunter Bite forever, right? That's what you're saying.
No, we're just gonna make new revisions and make people
sure.
buy the the evolutions of it.
HSA Hunter Bait.
Maybe even produce a keyboard reviving the
HSA Handarbeid confirmed.
Oh my god. Yeah. Maybe change things up like Dark Hunterbyte or Hunterbyte Nights or something
That
like
actually
that.
looked very good.
Let's agree to disagree on that. Well, yeah. It's all fun. And people love really like stickers. So do you always have requests? Like, and you now you have a lot of stickers, either in your shop or you post a lot of different stickers you get from different people. I think, oh no, I'm gonna butcher his name, but kwer, I guess.
Klavier, yeah.
Klavier, yes. Does a lot of stickers, and you tend to throw them in with orders. Do you often get special requests to like, please send this one sticker with my order or something, or like people ordering specifically?
No, I don't think people ask for that, but yeah, we are pretty close with Klavier, and sometimes we just give each other some stuff. And he gave us these keychains, he gave us his stickers, and I just felt like sharing with people and just dropping them into the orders. Yeah, I saw even the Reddit post where people were saying thank you for this. So
wasn't that you, kwer?
Oh, I don't know, who was that?
I saw a post.
But I know I also on Discord I have a lot of people being very excited, and when they are finding out, oh, I got in another order another color. Do you have more colors? Can you drop more? I'll even place a small order, just drop there. Yeah. People like these things, and we just like to drop this kind of stuff and to surprise. Yeah, again, all this feedback. I ask Klavier for more.
I have to order something from you to get the "Do you even ISO bro" sticker.
Yeah, I need that sticker. I
still do drop it in some orders. I didn't put it on website yet. Just wanted to see how people react on it.
Yeah, I love this one. I have to buy something from you just to get the sticker.
you can just ask for it. Some people who know on Discord see it and ask for it.
Or you can just throw some extras into my order. I mean, I have enough orders with you guys so that at one point you can just throw one in every order and I get the extras to Hannes at some point. Or I might keep all of them myself. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm always on Discord, and if people are requesting something, want to test the Switch or anything, I'm always happy.
Yeah, so do you have anything coming up that you can share already that people might not be aware yet?
Well, HSA, we're gonna run that group buy. Still waiting for a couple.
Yesterday
keys.
on the meetup, we also brought a new keyboard.
Yeah,
Something interesting.
there's I've been working with some South Korean designers in the community who just we're gonna Goldworms, he's his name, bring his keyboards to the West. He did some Korean group buys for like the UD40, UD70, UD80, UD60, and we have like a very good friendship, and we're gonna help him do stuff. So that's part of the thing where I said like producing more. We're gonna do that. So we're gonna produce his keyboards, run them in group buys, maybe even end up stocking them, being able so you can keep buying them, the ones that are most interesting or most popular. And from this friendship with him came a lot of other connections inside Korean market, which I'm really happy about. And one of them is Apco, which is like Korean gamer brands, and he's working with them or for them since recently, and they're also like there in Korea they have like a fully CNC'd keyboard, a 3-something kilo. It basically looks like a custom from 2 years ago, and we're gonna bring that to Europe as well. We're gonna work with them on that, and we've been working with them also to set up a US partner. And that's something interesting. It's not for everybody, but again, for people who are looking for a high quality retail board, that's a very interesting one.
That's interesting. Was you recently ran West Foxtrot's Cypher as a group buy, right?
Yeah, correct.
Was that like your first keyboard group buy, or did you do some before?
No, that was not the first one. But that's the first one we did globally, not where we're not just proxying it and where it's actually barely worth our time. With the Cypher, that's like really running it, doing the logistics for, because we're in a position where we can actually ship to all over the world. And that's the first we did that way, like US orders and EU orders, because we figured actually that when we're exporting to US, it's not as bad as when US is exporting to Europe. So we're still, I mean, that doesn't mean we're against proxying or anything, because I think like for our own keyboards, we're definitely going to work with other partners to bring it to other regions. But no, that was still interesting and very something we could learn from and see how that goes.
Do you have like plans to do that more? Like
Yes. The like for example, I think is it next
Rune's
month?
coming.
The Iron 65.
Yeah.
165. We're gonna do that properly as well. And yeah, but there's actually quite a couple of keyboards that we have in the pipeline, or where we're working with designers to bring it to the market. Yes.
Curious. Looking forward to all of that.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of things planned for the future.
Correct.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So you're staying with us for a while, or the community.
Absolutely.
I think we haven't like asked you yet. So like one of the few of the default questions, like what keyboards do you personally use as your daily driver, and which switches and what so on. Like, what's your favorite?
I'm personally, I would call myself a slut. I barely give a shit. I think at home for gaming and where I'm programming and gaming in the evenings, I've been using a Vortex tab with MX Browns for almost 3 months now. just because I'm like I have a couple customs that I really like, but then there's something wrong with it, and it's going back to the workshop, and then I'm like too lazy to finish it, and I'll take something from stock, or but I do have some preferences. Like for example, I'm not gonna get annoyed, or I'm not impossible to stand any switch. I can work with anything if it's not too heavy. Like even like with this new this
like
prototype,
blue
I've been
at
using
home.
even MX Blues.
I can't stand it.
If I would have to pick out my personal favorite board, it's probably gonna be the Norba Force with 55G stock toppers.
Which he finally cleaned only because we went to the meetup. He spilled beer on it.
That's like a positive side effect of meetups we never even mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
And what is your what would you claim your favorite key, maybe your favorite switch?
I think I also used my very first were browns, Leopold browns. I used it for a while. Then again, I also don't care that much. As soon as first Vortex Vibe came out, only because it has numpad, I took it for work. I really need numpad for that. And these clears I used for a while, and then I couldn't get for something. Oh, and then I got this pink Leopold, which has silent reds, and I suffer so much from it because I slightly touch the keycap, and it lives its own life. Now I finally got the prototype of Cypher, the pink one, which I was looking for so much. I put not silent, just inks there. I still have to lube them. Also didn't put enough time.
You also at one point used Aristotle's. So you
I started what?
You at one point you were using a poker with Aristotle's, and you're complaining about me and with MX Blues, and you were ramming in those things.
That was when David hated me, and when I was chatting with people, he's like, "Oh my God, what are you typing so much?"
I can literally count the keystrokes, man.
Yeah, I really had to just change it because of him. Yeah, I'm also waiting for M60 from Rama to use at home.
You ordered that one, M60A, whatever,
M60A,
or Sec2, or how is it called?
The 60% I'm gonna use at home and Cypher at work.
Yeah, I guess that's a good combination.
On Cypher I put Jimke Olivia, which I think my favorite now. For Rama I don't know yet. We're very spoiled with keycaps, so I don't think I'll have a problem choosing.
Yeah, again, the pink you got is a special colorway just for the prototype, right? That wasn't in the group buy.
No, me and Max are gonna have it.
Really unique board. So that's awesome.
I think you posted it somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I posted on our Discord, and I took it yesterday for a meetup, so also posted some pictures, but there's not really something very good now.
Yeah.
I will.
Proper pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. we're potato picture people. Take a camera, take a picture, probably blurry, and we're happy.
Yeah.
And people are happy if there's some licking involved. So. Hey. No, but well, you can always ask Clavier to do some pictures because his are really nice.
Yeah, very true. Yep.
Well, do we have anything left?
Do you want to say anything that we haven't asked? Maybe anything that you can come up with.
What I can say is that being in this community as a vendor, that I feel really, really lucky that we're getting so much support from so many people and so many partners. It's really a blessing. I can imagine when it would be the other way around, and that would be really hard for me personally to do something when it's constantly a struggle. For us, it's like people like what we're doing. People keep working with us, and it's such a blessing. I really hope we can keep giving back to the community as how the community gave to us.
Yeah, and I think from the position of the community, I think we can also thank you for like supporting the European market with all the things you do.
Yeah, especially your ISO mission is something that we, especially at the International Kit, really support.
As ISO Crusaders is something we can get behind. ISO Volt.
Oh, man. One more question. Like, why do you think it is that nearly every vendor in Europe is named David?
I have no idea. I hate it.
What's the conspiracy behind that? There has to be one.
Yeah.
There's no conspiracy behind it. Just very bad luck.
Maybe Europeans are not that good with names.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
know much.
Our people,
A lot of Davids.
I guess maybe it probably has to do with we're probably in a very similar age range, and it probably was a very popular name. But it is annoying because when you're working with the East and you're all called David, they confuse you for each other, and that's not a good thing.
Oh my, yeah, I can see that that's gonna be a bit problematic.
Yeah, oftentimes like even for me, it's like somebody tells me, it's like, oh yeah, just ask David. And it's like, but which one? You have to be more specific.
Yeah, thank God people have nicknames in the community.
Yeah.
Well, then I think there's nothing left but thank you very much for agreeing to this interview today, and also thank you very much for doing what you do, supporting the hobby any way you can. And we're looking very much forward to the stuff you're bringing the rest of the year or the coming months anyways. And thank you both so much. It's been lovely.
Yeah, and I think we both hope to see you in a meetup soon. I don't know. I will not make it to the UK, but let's see in the end of the year.
All right.
We can always hope there's another Mechanicon this year. I mean, maybe it's announced 2 days before, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, and thank you for having us. It was nice.
Well, then I think it's time to say goodbye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.